Good morning. Welcome to the Pitchline Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tash with Yzma. I'm here with Donald and Rob, and a couple of things off the bat. Want to thank everybody that reached out and wished me well while I was recovering from the flu. It sucks, but it's good to be back with everybody. Missed you all. And another, I see Kaylee is in the chat on behalf of Spencer. We hope that he is doing very well, and hope to be talking to him later this afternoon just to check in on him. Yep. But our thoughts are always with you, Spencer. So
absolutely,
you are enjoying hearing all the familiar voices and all the support. It's been overwhelming. I'm sure for him and his family.
Love you, Spencer.
Yeah, you hang in there, man. And it can't be easy, but you're fighting. That's awesome, and I think you'll be fit and ready to go for opening day. That's my prediction.
Yep. So, but aside from all of that, we do have spring trainings in full force. We've had some really interesting games, some interesting highlights from players, and one of the main highlight reels is Juan Soto. He has pretty much come to deliver, and delivery has. He is tearing it up. His at-bats are just flawless. He's everything that we've waited for when it comes to protection for Judge.
It's unfair, isn't it? The fact that he's hitting above Aaron Judge. You've said this already. He just gets better every day. I think Tats is frozen. I'm not entirely sure though. Okay. I thought he was glitching out there, but yeah, Soto's insane. The fact that we have him, it still doesn't feel real. Even though we're watching him hit bombs every at bat in spring training, he got robbed of one yesterday too. It still kind of feels surreal that he's in a Yankee uniform. That's why I'm going to enjoy every single at bat, even in the spring, even though they're meaningless games. This is not a meaningless at bat because we're watching Juan Soto. And see, Juan Soto's ball just landed and it just hit Tats' house and it knocked out his internet connection. So there you go. We found Juan Soto's home run ball. He is unbelievable, and I can't believe he's a Yankee.
Would you say he's the best player in baseball?
I'm still gonna give that nod to Judge because Judge is the better defender. I think he's just more versatile, but it's a damn close second. Like Soto's maybe the best hitter is Soto.
I think he's a better hitter than Judge.
Yeah, but better player, overall player, I would give that nod to Judge. But the hitter, because of what 400 on base every single year, the 280 plus average on it's unbelievable what he does.
He's batting .667 in spring. He's batting almost 700, bro. He has 3 home runs and 9 at bats. A third of his at bats are leaving the yard. And his OPS is 2,600. Bro, can you do that on MLB The Show?
Unless you're playing on beginner, maybe. I don't know. What's up, Dev?
That's what it is for him. Spring is like MLB The Show and beginner for him. It's just like, every at bat is just leaving the yard, bro. He's just ridiculous, man. I've never seen at bats like it. He's never late on anything. It doesn't matter where that pitch is going. He's crushing it. Even his doubles are terrifying. Even his doubles are like, jeez.
Even his outs.
Even his outs.
He almost had 2 yesterday.
He had like 2. Like he's never out.
And one of them was robbed yesterday. It was a great play in the outfield that took one away from him. So, I mean, Jesus Christ, the fact that this guy is going to be hitting second in our lineup behind LeMahieu and in front of Judge, who's going to be hitting in front of a much healthier looking Anthony Rizzo, in front of a hopefully better Giancarlo Stanton in front of Gleyber Torres. I mean, this lineup is deep, and it's scary when we haven't even seen it at full force yet. And when we do see it at full force, it's going to be great.
What up to Jason in the chat? Jason, what's your thoughts, man? Is Soto the best player in baseball? Hit us up in the chat. Y'all are watching. Who you got is the best player in baseball? Uncle Tats. Now he's back. Yisma might have gone to bed. Uncle T, who's the best player in baseball?
It's the best player in baseball.
Yep.
It's hard to gauge. You'd have to say, you could easily say Judge because he's not just a strict power hitter. He's a phenomenal defensive player. He's got speed on the bases. He can steal. But Soto is right up there. I think the Yankees, when you really look at it, when you compare, Judge, Soto, you can't discount Ohtani as much. Trout, if he's healthy, he's still a threat. So same thing with Stanton. When he's healthy, he could be a threat at the plate as well. When he's focused. But so right there, out of those 5 players, 3 of them are on your roster. It's insane when you really think about that, about how stacked this roster is. You got your power bats, you got your defensive ability, players above average, Gold Gloves at multiple positions, prospects still on the way that had the potential to be, peripheral Gold Glove winners. So I don't see really any flaws on this team. I really don't.
So we got a good mixture of opinions here. We got Jason's opinion. I think he's the most complete player and the best left-hander in the game. 100% agree with that. We got Joan, who thinks it's Soto. Frederick says it's Judge. NFB, I have to lean towards Judge if we're talking overall.
Yeah.
Jones says Soto's the most clutch player.
It's true.
Jason says he's got the contact skills of Ted Williams and the power of Bonds. Oh, baby, what a combo. But caveat there, and if we are talking about strictly hitting, then it's Soto.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's
his
what I
eye
was
of the
saying.
plate, his eye of the strike zone would give him the edge over most other hitters because he does get on base a hell of a lot. He's not the peripheral power hitting, home run or strikeout type hitter. Soto, he'll drive you crazy on the mound. Because you're not gonna be. He's probably the hardest out to get. I'm going to say on this roster. I think he's going to be.
Even this isn't a good problem though, because we're talking about who's better, Aaron Judge or Juan Soto, and they're going to be hitting in the same lineup back to back. So, and this is a lovely problem to have. If it even is a problem, the fact it's not a problem, it's a freaking luxury. It's a luxury. It's an absolute luxury. It's like we hit the lotto. We got the 2 best hitters in the sport hitting back to back in the same lineup for at least one full season. So it's going to be special, and we got to enjoy every single at bat of it. And the Yankee baseball is going to be cinema this year, and you got to watch every single inning if they're back to back. All eyes are going to be on that TV. The Yankees, I think the viewership's going to go up, the ticket sales are going to go up, and it's because of who we added. I just think that one player is going to add so much to this team in terms of talent, in terms of the average, the power, the run production, the offense, and viewership as well. This was a great investment by the Yankees, and it's already showing because spring training viewership is through the roof compared to years past.
Well, the thing that you mentioned with the eyes on it, let's also remember, when was the last time that this far into spring training, everybody is just bought in? Like they're all invested into the success of this team and want to see everything come to fruition. So, you're seeing live tweets during the game, although there's somebody that thinks that's odd. But hey, they could just they don't get it if they think there's an issue with it. But I think that that's how you can get that sense that, you know, we're back. You know, the Yankees are back to being that formidable force in baseball. And I think that's something that's really been lacking over the last couple of years. Yeah, they can kick rocks. You're right.
It's gonna be box office, man. It's gonna be box
Yeah.
office. This is the most locked in I've ever been to spring training. Usually, for me, I'm good after watching the first couple of games. I'm like, I'm good but now I actually kind of want to watch every game that Juan Soto takes part in. I'm also really intrigued by our prospects more so than ever, because this is the best farm system we've had since our dynasty. In my opinion, this is the deepest and most exciting, with a bunch of prospects that are ready made right now that can walk into a lot of major league teams as it stands, and they're going to go to AAA. That's exciting for me. So this is the most locked in I've been this spring. But get back to the original discussion. It's a fun discussion to have because there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
There is no wrong answer. And for me, Judge and Soto are 1 and 2. I don't have Trout in the discussion because he's injured all the time. Sorry. Yeah, and also you never win. You're never there. You're never in the playoffs. So I'm sorry, he's discounted. Ohtani, we can have that discussion. We can have that discussion about Ohtani, but he, for me, Judge and Soto are more complete hitters. And for me, it discounts him. He's got crazy power, stupid power. And obviously, the fact that he can pitch it puts him right there. But I had also what I've noticed is he hasn't helped his team win, and that's from being a good pitcher and a freaking phenomenal hitter. And he's never helped the Angels win. Aaron Judge, he broke the AL home run record and got us to the playoffs. So for me, that makes him better than Ohtani, right? So, because he helps his team win. And Juan Soto instantly has changed this Yankee team. Completely, instantly. Yeah. Even in spring training, he's instantly changed it. Rizzo looks a better player. Judge is going to be great. And that's all because Juan Soto's there. And Juan Soto has added he's made this roster complete. He's made the lineup complete. And every at-bat that he takes part in is literally terrifying. He never takes that bat off in spring training. He never takes it off. I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like it. So, like, just from what I'm seeing, I think he's the best player in baseball. I have never seen at-bats like this. And I know it's only spring, but it's going to carry over. That's what I'm saying. It's going to carry over. He's going to have a ridiculous year. And every at-bat is just phenomenal. The way he takes pitches, he knows where that pitch is going every time. His power is ridiculous to all fields. He crushes mistake pitches, and he crushes great pitches. It's just ridiculous. Amazing.
Sorry, I had to take care of some business there.
Yep.
But aside from that, but no, it's, you know, when you're looking at, you know, between who, let's move on from that. Let's focus on the positive. These are excellent problems. They really are. I've never seen a situation that we're really having the comparative. You know, do we want to go with our seasoned guys? Do we want to bring in the prospects? How do we balance it out? How do we blend everything together? When we haven't had this problem, probably, I don't know if we've ever had to this degree, this problem. We really never had. You know, we weren't screaming, you know, when they were starting to bring up the baby bombers, we weren't screaming for, you know, Greg Bird to be, you know, over, you know, not to get a chance because we had this guy. We were waiting for guys like that. We were waiting for guys like Sanchez. We were making sure that we had the road for them to get in, and we didn't care who was in their way, move on from them. We don't have that this time around. You know, we're not looking to kick Trevino to the curb to make room for Wells. We want them to work in tandem. You know, so we're not looking for Peraza to take over for DJ. We want them to work in tandem, and it's a very unique and good problem to have.
Yeah, and we have the kids coming up, and we have the veterans on the team now. It's a good mix. It's a really good team, and I'll answer the question that Pops over here asked: Yankees or Dodgers top 3. I don't know what the Dodgers are going to go with. Is it Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, in some combination over LeMahieu, Judge, and Soto? I guess that Dodgers top 3 is filthy. Like, I don't know. I don't know if DJ is going to be better than Freeman or Betts. Simply because of that, I think you go with the Dodgers. But, I mean, if DJ's hitting anything close to like he was second half of last year, then it's going to be a very, very close call on those top 3s. I think simply because of the fact that Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani are like 3 of the best in the sport at what they do, you probably give the nod to them. But the fact that we have 2 of the best hitters in that same trio, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not going to overlook what the Dodgers have though. I'm not going to overlook what Ohtani is. Like, he's freaking good. Freeman almost won an MVP last year, and Mookie Betts is unbelievable as well. So, yeah.
Hey, Spence, how are you?
Izzy, we appreciate you helping him out.
Spencer just wants to say he thinks Judge is the best player in baseball. Great job. Thank you, Spence. Ooh. I mean, you could make that argument. He did break a record.
That's what I was saying. That's why we were saying he is a very complete. He's probably one of the more complete players as far as hitting, fielding, base running. He really is. He's got everything. The poise for New York. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't just give that captain's title to anybody. So the fact that he's wearing that C on his chest, that tells you everything about the player that he is and the impact he has on this organization.
Well, the key word is player, right? If it's hitter, then you go Soto. But if it's player, it's Judge, because Judge is the more complete player. Soto is the more complete hitter, but it's not like Judge doesn't do everything really, really well. Judge is the more power guy, but it's not like he hits 240. Judge still hits 280 every year. So it's not like, his OPS.
300 plus is record-breaking year.
Yeah, but his normal numbers are a good average. His on base is always like just shy of 400. But the terms of the better hitter, it's probably Soto, but not by much. But the overall better player is Judge, because he does play defense better and he does run the bases better. But again, it's not like saying one's better than the other at a certain thing is knocking the other player. It's you got 2 of the best players in the entire sport.
1 and 2.
Exactly. So it's a phenomenal discussion to have, because they're on the same side and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's why I kind of thought it was a fun discussion, because it's definitely not a diminishment on either player, which one you have number 1 or number 2, because they could easily be 1 and 1A, 1A, 1B. Like, it just there's nothing separating them. Aaron Judge, raw power, is generational. Not even Soto has Judge's raw power. Judge has that capability of hitting 60 home runs on an average year now, because he was going to get 60 again last year. I don't think there's any debate about that, in my opinion. Had he not broke his toe, the trajectory he was on, he was going to get 60 or minimum 50. So that's just Judge, man. He's walking 50, 60 home run guy. Soto, he adds everything. His OPS is crazy. His on base percentage is touching 400. So it's unbelievable comparison. I think we should maybe get the stats up and we can judge. But there's no wrong answer. It's kind of like deciding, who's better between Gary and Babe Ruth. I'm not saying that both of them are as good as them, but it's very similar. Like, there's no wrong answer.
Yep. And then Frederick's question, despite contrary, popular belief, I only go far back as Mattingly. I do remember Mattingly as the captain, obviously Jeter. And there's an aura about players like that. And I'm sure the same went for Munson. So it's just one of those. It's just a special. There's like I guess aura is the best word to put. That's the best way to put it. They have an aura about them and how they carry themselves and how they represent the organization. But it's Donald mentioned it's a fun discussion to have, and it is. When you're comparing some players. Um, And if you are enjoying this conversation, just make sure you hit the like button. You already see the thing scrolling along the bottom. We are working our way to 600 subs, so hit that sub button as well. We do. I teased it the last time I was able to be on with you guys. We do have some plans in the works. When we get to the 600, that you guys will definitely enjoy.
So here's one Soto's career numbers.
Yep.
To this point, his career OBP is 421. so good. Career slug 520. OPS, career OPS is 946, so it's almost 1,000. Career OPS plus 157. In 2020, his slug was just under 700, and his OBP was just under 500, and his OPS was 1185. That was in 2020. Oh my God. His OPS plus was 217. Like, that's just stupid, right? So that's his numbers there. Career,
but Judge has
number.
him beat in slugging and OPS plus, so that's why.
Wow.
Again, I think Judge's on base is just shy of 400. I think he's like 390 or something like that. So
right, so
he's right there.
Soto's career home runs is 160 with 483 RBIs. Let's get Judge's numbers up. Have you got them up?
I do have Judge's numbers up. He's got 257 career home runs, 572 career RBIs, a career average of 282, 396 on base, 586 slugging, 982 OPS, a 164 OPS plus. So Judge has him beat in the offensive stats, the big offensive stats.
Soto, average?
282.
Right. His is the same, 284. So, you know what? Judge is a better player.
Yeah, it's Judge, but again, it's not like Soto is like this scrub compared to him. These two elite players, generational players. Yeah, they're neck and neck in a lot of categories. This Judge has him beat in power, but Soto has him beaten on base. Soto's going to get on base more. He'll have the better at bat, but they're both going to work the count full most times, and they're both going to be a threat to either hit a home run or draw a walk. They're both very, very exceptionally good at what they do. And there's no wrong answer there, but statistically speaking, Judge is the better player. But doesn't mean that Soto is not going to be. Yeah, and also Soto is 25 exactly, so he's got more time. He in 15, he can still play another 12 years. Judge probably won't be playing in 12 more years. Judge will be 42 and Soto will be 37. So, there's a big difference there. There's a 48, 43, whatever. There's a 6-year age gap between the two.
Get Ohtani's numbers, Rob. I've got Trout's numbers here. Trout is very impressive. Career 301 batting average. Career OBP 412. Career slug 582. Career OPS 994. All better than Soto's. Career OPS plus 173. Remarkable. Career home run of 368, but obviously he's played much, much longer. Almost 12 years, but his numbers are freaking phenomenal. Perennial MVP candidate. But the thing is, what difference has it made? He never wins. And he's never healthy. So, do you think that should count?
No, because we're talking about just the player itself and what he does when he's on the field. Mike Trout, it's a shame that he doesn't stay healthy because he would be probably the best player maybe ever if he never got hurt. Because like the trajectory his career was on was unbelievable, and he's still unbelievable when he's out on the field. I hope he stays healthy the rest of the way through because he's so good. He would have been, I think, every year he's always top. He ends up being top 5 despite the injuries. This guy is unbelievably good. I don't want to ever discredit Mike Trout. It's a shame that the Angels have done him the way they have and not built a team around him. Instead of adding pitching, they added offense to a team that didn't really need it. They needed pitching desperately. They spent on Anthony Rendon. Look how that's working out for them. So it's a shame what they've done to him. It's a shame they haven't added to this team now to try to replace Ohtani some way. They haven't done that at all. Aaron Hicks and Robert Stevenson is not replacing Shohei Ohtani. They need to. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. And this guy wants to stay there. He's loyal to that team, and it's a shame what they've done to him. But Mike Trout's a special player, and Ohtani's numbers are ridiculous, and he's been injured as well. But offensively, Ohtani's really good too. He's a 270. What does that say? 274, 366, 556 slash line, 922 OPS, 148 OPS plus, 171 homers, 437 ribbies. Ohtani's special too. Plus, he pitches. And when he pitches, he's very good. That's why I love Shohei Ohtani. And I hate the fact that he is getting kind of like overlooked by some people. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's like a hatred thing towards the guy. I'm not saying any of us are doing it, but like I'm seeing a lot of it, like forgetting about Ohtani. This dude is good. Like the Dodgers need to be applauded for bringing him in, even though it was a contract that was freaking wonky, but it was his idea, and they were able to get arguably the best player in the sport. This dude is really freaking good, and he's a special player to watch.
Now.
Yeah, and he's amazing, and I know he's just a DH, so that's why I give the nod to Judge over him, because Judge is able to do it on the field, but Ohtani also pitches, and when he does pitch, he's very good at that too. Like, again, this is a special player that we have never seen in our lifetime. Maybe Tats has, because he's been around since the Big Bang with Sunil, but that's about it.
You know, I'm wondering why Ohtani doesn't get a lot of credit on probably the East Coast. The East Coast kind of forgets about him. I think there's a couple of factors. One, he's not very humble, right? Like he's done some questionable things. Like, for instance, he kind of walked out on the Angels before the season ended last year. He packed up his locker like a month before the season ended. That's kind of questionable. Yep. The way he handled free agency was a little bit LeBron-ish. But he made the best move for his career, because nobody cares about you if you're an Angel, right? Like, just look at Mike Trout. He was the best player in baseball for a long, long time, and no one gave a shit, frankly, because he's an Angel, and the Angels have always have never really been that great for a long time. And Ohtani made a great decision for his career to get out of there, because he's going to get more eyes on him in LA than he is in Anaheim. So I think that's a big thing, you know, as was it 2.5 Men when Charlie Sheen's mom was like, yeah, I don't do Anaheim. That's what she said. So I don't think a lot of people do Anaheim. So I think even Ohtani doesn't do Anaheim. So I think he'll be better in LA, and I think more people are going to give him the credit he deserves in LA. Also, I think he hurt himself with the fact that he didn't want to pitch on the East Coast and didn't want to pitch in Yankee Stadium, and he was afraid to. You can make the decision yourself.
Yeah. And when he did, he got lit up.
And when he did, he got lit up. So I think that affects some people's view on him. Yeah, I think there's some aspects to him which is maybe why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. But he's so freaking crazy good and scary.
Remember when he did come here? How many people tuned into that game? How many people went to the stadium for an Angels game? They wanted to see Ohtani. So as much as they may hate the guy, they go, oh, he's scared to play in New York. He didn't want to come to New York, whatever. You still went to go see the guy play. When Ohtani plays, I want to watch. That's just a baseball fan in me.
That's also why they had to redo the way they did the schedule, where every team plays everybody now. That's because of Ohtani. They want Ohtani in every city. They don't, and I'm convinced of that. It was, the vitriol towards Ohtani is there's a couple things that I look. It's the East Coast snub, right?
Yep.
I'm a New York guy. You fuck you. You don't want to come to that. I don't care. That's what it's everybody's obsession over him. I enjoy watching him play. He's lethal. But can we get off our knees for this guy once in a while.
Ben
There's
Verlander.
how many other Ben Verlander? You know, can we stop? Yes, he's a. You're never going to see. This is the first time we've seen the two-way players since Babe Ruth. Well, Babe Ruth wasn't doing them both at the same time, so that's a stupid comparison to begin with, right? And it's one of those keep our legend out of your mouth, all right?
True.
When if Otani saved the game from the darkest days that it had ever seen, then I'll compare him to Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth's on his own mantle. Because after the Black Sox scandal, if it wasn't for a player named Babe Ruth, the game may have never survived that scandal. He brought it out of the ashes and put it back where it belonged on top of the mountain. Otani didn't do that.
Preach.
Okay? So that's the other reason why I can't stand the Otani praise, and he's the best player since Babe Ruth. Right? That's another little, and it's a small little tidbit, but it actually does drive me absolutely crazy.
We can tell.
The fact that he won the Rookie of the Year before even playing a game. Right? He's going to win Rookie of the Year. You haven't played yet. He could pitch to a 7 ERA, and I was convinced they were still going to give him the Rookie of the Year because of who he was. And they were just going to want to kiss his ass. And I can't stand it. I can't. I'm glad he stayed on the West Coast. I don't think he's going to be that two-way player long term. We're already seeing the effects of him doing both. Was not meant for a long-term career doing both. I said that a long time ago, and I've said it on these shows. He's going to get to the point where he's going to have to choose one or the other. Are you going to hit or are you going to pitch? Because you can't stay healthy doing both.
Hit the like button for
still
Uncle
do
Tats
both, though.
because he just had a mic drop moment, a legendary moment. So salute to Uncle Tats, man. You just fucking nailed it, man. Like salute, bro.
Send that clip to Ben Verlander. Maybe, just maybe, he'll get off his knees. I know he was heartbroken about Otani.
Oh yeah.
And he tried to laugh it off like, haha, I got so many notifications. You know, he was probably crying himself to sleep. Can't believe he's married. Ben Verlander is the generational ass kisser. That's for sure. Otani's a generational player. Verlander's a generational other thing that I'm not going to say on the air here, but that's another conversation. Let's get back to the Yankees, though.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to jump in. I think that people like Ben Verlander, I have an element that I believe that a lot of this generation need this generation of baseball to be the best just because they're alive to see it, so they instantly start diminishing what was before them. It's been a major issue of mine for a long time. Case in point, Derek Jeter. People have been in the modern day have been diminishing Derek Jeter, saying he's somehow overrated and find bizarre X-Gen stats to try and back them up, but the truth is you never saw him play in his prime, and that's a thing of this modern generation. I'm not going to get in my soapbox, but it's a fact. Like a lot of people diminish what was before them in order to make this era the right era, the best era, the greatest era, right? And so that means that Otani gets puffed up, and those before him, like Babe Ruth or whatever, gets diminished, and it's a sad state of affairs. It really is, because I mean, before Twitter, crazy opinions didn't get any credence. It didn't get looked at, right? But now any old person with a Twitter account can come up with a crazy opinion, and if they've got a little bit of followers, then suddenly it's going to get boosted up, and it's suddenly in the pantheon, and it's in the conversation. That's just the way we are dealing with right now, and that's what's happening right now. But I don't know if you'll agree with that, but that's my opinion. I think that Otani is definitely getting like puffed up. I think he's fantastic. I think he's certainly top 3 best player in the game, and I'm not diminishing him. I'm just saying that if you start comparing him with with others before him. I don't think you can make that comparison. I just don't. You can't compare eras for one, and two, you can't diminish a player that you've never seen before just to make your guy better because you're in that era. It isn't fair. So we've got the benefit of seeing a lot of guys who, in our Yankee dynasty, who don't get the credit they deserve. You know, you look at Bernie Williams; he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Andy Pettit is constantly getting diminished as a Hall of Fame candidate. Don Mattingly doesn't get the credit he deserves. Derek Jeter didn't get unanimous MVP Hall of Fame, which is one of the craziest things of all time. Roger Clemens, for instance, is not going to make the Hall of Fame. Neither is A-Rod. And a lot of it is because people nowadays need their guys better, and they don't like something that's happened before them. It's a very frustrating situation, and that's what you can't compare.
Well, the whole, what's his ERA? What's his ERA compared to all time?
What's his OPS plus?
There's so many of the way that these people are. Just enjoy the guy for who he is. You don't have to compare him to every single other player. It makes no. I'm not going to be going. I'm glad we have Judge and Soto. Man, if only Soto was hitting, or only a Judge had the same on base percentage as Soto, he'd be so much better. No, we're not going to be doing that. If they're both hitting bombs and winning games for us, that's all that freaking matters. Who cares who's got a better stat line than somebody else? If they're winning for you. That just it drives me crazy. It really does.
The only people that'll be mad about that are the ones that bet on who has a better home run total. Like if someone said, "Oh, I think Soto will have more," they could be like, "But damn parlay." That's why I can't stand these gamblers. They're the worst. The whole sports gambling thing that's taken over the last few years, now that it's like regular and it's like advertised all over sports. It used to be vilified, and now it's like glorified. Every single sport has an app. There's like 8 different freaking apps to gamble on, and this is all people talk about. They get mad if a player didn't score 28 points in basketball, but why couldn't they get it? One more free throw. God damn it, this player sucks, blah, blah, blah. My parlay is ruined. I can't stand these gamblers. I can't stand them. I can't stand every single one of them. The Barstool Sports douchebags that glorify this stuff too. That's a big reason why sports are getting ruined too, because everyone doesn't want to watch the game for the game. They're kind of just watching it for their parlays and their whatever the hell other terms they use. It's annoying.
Well, that's why for the longest time I was very against like fantasy sports.
Yeah.
And we talked with somebody, forget his name, from Statement Games when we used to interact with him a lot, and we had him on with us years ago when the show was created. And I had said to him, I'm like, with my concern of why I don't like it, and I've gotten into fantasy sports more to force myself to learn about other players. And keep up on players. That's why I started to enjoy it. But for the longest time, I'm like, I'm not going to hope my team loses so my fantasy team wins. Like, you have to pick one or the other. And people put big money on these fantasy clubs. And now you're not a fan of a team anymore. And I thought that was starting, I felt like that was starting to pull away. And we were starting to see, and it was more prevalent with football and basketball, but it was really starting to affect baseball as well, where it was more, you're rooting for that's my favorite player. Well, who's your favorite team? I don't have a team, but I like watching him. I hated that. It drove me nuts. Like, you're not, that defeats the purpose of being a sports fan. To live and die by your team. What happens when that player retires? You should watch them more. I mean, it's in your soul for your life when you root for a team, not when you root for a player.
It's a great point, man. I mean, listen, I love fantasy football. I'm pretty good at it, but I do see your point, because a lot of the time you're only looking at person statistics rather than watching them for what they do. Sometimes you've got guys that do a lot of stuff that don't show up in the box score. that make them phenomenal, but you're not paying attention to it because they're not got the flashy stats that get you points for fantasy. That's certainly an aspect to it that I totally get. Another thing about this era and the past era being disrespected. What about Evan Roberts saying that Jose Altuve is better than Derek Jeter? He said that a couple of weeks. He said that like a month ago.
Well, they play two different positions.
Yeah, but he did say that Altuve is better than Jeter, and that's where we're talking. It's just like you have to diminish something in the past in order to puff up your guy right now. And it comes from an uneducated perspective because he's a Mets fan, and so there's an inherent bias there.
Is he WFAN?
Yeah, Evan Roberts, a Met fan of WFAN.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I respect his opinions, but
He's the one that looks like Grizzly Adams now.
Yeah,
so he's like a douchebag.
He's fallen off.
No, I actually
insane right now.
He's been unbearable lately. But for a long time, he was the go-to guy to listen to for baseball.
He was.
He's very smart with the game. He's just this Alonso, getting Alonso signed. I'm not shaving or cut. Like that kind of took his edge away from him a little bit. I'll say that.
No, so I agree with that. I totally agree. I think he was
back to his old self.
When he was with Beningo, that was like two.
Him and Joe were amazing.
Great, yeah. Those are two really knowledgeable guys that just focused on good sports knowledge. Now, since then, Evan has now become more of a personality and sometimes a troll. And it's kind of alien to him because I did respect him. I don't know what's happened to him now.
They're desperate for clicks. That's all it is. That's why you see these idiots on WFAN dressing up like wrestlers and asking why people call them clowns. When you're dressed up as a clown, you're saying these ridiculous takes. Like their Mets fans are hanging on to the hope of Juan Soto being there next year. They're not even focusing on this season. They're doing things. They're desperate for clicks. You got two bozos that run their show, Licata and Tierney, and they suck. You have Evan Roberts, who, well, clearly he's an idiot because of comparing Altuve to Jeter is ridiculous. That's not even a Yankee fan talking. That's just a baseball fan talking. How can you? One's a Hall of Famer, one's a 5-time World Series champion, the other one's got one real championship, and the other one is tainted. So there's all you need to know about that. It's people clicking or trying to get clicks, desperate for views, desperate for clicks, desperate to get their name out there. That's why no one's watching Skip Bayless anymore. Think about it. Shannon Sharp left. No one's watching Undisputed because they know it's just going to be Skip saying something stupid, and his co-host no one really cares about. And that's all First Take is. They just want to see two people yell at each other and that's all it is now. People are desperate for attention. They're desperate for views. So that's really
kind of like a troll that we just banned.
Yeah. Yep. But I want to bring up this comment here from Cold Italian Pizza. He's done this up here a couple times in the chat. Welcome to Pitch Strike Chronicles. Hope you're enjoying it.
Fantastic name.
Yes. And especially on a late Saturday night, you're coming home from the bar, you got that one slice left in the fridge.
You eat it cold, right? Isn't it so good?
Right? There's that's such a New York thing. If you're not, you wouldn't understand. But
I ain't waiting for this thing to cook. I'm eating that goddamn thing cold.
I'm not waiting that extra 15, 20 seconds in the microwave. Fuck that. And he's referring to the extension that Wheeler got. And it takes Snell and Montgomery if they're watching, and they are. I don't know. I think the extension. I mean, Wheeler's Wheeler. I think he's a durable pitcher. I think they're going to get the production out of him. Yeah. So, what I'll say is, I'll bring that into discussion of how it's going to affect Snell and Montgomery, because now we're within the 30 days of opening day. So contracts can be prorated. So you're not going to be guaranteed the whole payment of the year. So if you get 40, say for argument's sake, you get $40 million a year and you sign it, within the next week, they can only pay you 38 because you've been missing time. you can't get paid for a full year if you haven't been there a full year. So because they're gonna have to go through spring training, they got to go through all their workouts. So Boris really, really screwed this up, big time. So I think that it does. I think it can increase or bring back into the fold Snell being able to work out a deal with the Yankees now.
I hope.
The other thing is,
I
it
really
will
hope.
also it also weakens next year's pitching free agency. So, because now there's one less person that teams can wait for. So that's another aspect to it. So I think that you're going to see. I'm waiting for somebody like a Heyman. Deal with Wheeler increases odds for Yankees to get Snell. You know it's common because they love to throw the Yankees name attached to every player that ever walked the air. So, what do you guys think about if you go? Are we going to see the Snell of the Yankees come right back into the fold after it was starting to die out?
Yeah. Boris has Heyman on speed dial. He's saying, hey, see that extension Wheeler got? Post that article again from 3 weeks ago. So it'll come up. But I still think they should be on Blake Snell because look, you notice something? Everyone but the Yankees are bringing up the luxury tax as the main reason they won't do it. Hal Steinbrenner did not say we're not going to spend. He said anything we do is going to be an expensive decision, but he didn't say we're not going to do it. The Giants just came out and flat out said we're not spending anymore, or we don't see it. The Angels have shown no willingness to spend. The Yankees did not say they're not going to spend. They may decide for one more year, for just 1 year, because next year they will be under that 297, may even begin under 277 if we're being honest. They can just be like, screw it. Let's just go all in. He's falling into your lap. And that's been the term that a lot of people used weeks ago. He is I understand the IFA stuff. I could not care less at this point. I want to win a championship. This has nothing to do with prospects right now. I love our farm system. I love what the team has done in the international market, but I am so desperate to win a championship. Blake Snell helps you win a championship this year and maybe even next year. These international free agents, we're not going to hear about them for another half a decade at least. These are 16-year-old, 15-year-old kids. I'm not worried about them. As special of a talent as they might be, Dane put me on to the guy that throws with both hands, an ambidextrous fielder that plays both center field and shortstop. That's a special talent, but he won't be ready for another half a decade at least. I don't care about that right now. I want to win a goddamn championship this year. Blake Snell helps me win a championship this year. I can go a year without two extra draft picks and some international money. Snell helps you win a championship this year. That international prospect does not. These kids that we have that are 18, 19 years old in the system do not. Blake Snell does. The reigning NL Cy Young Award winner is sitting there in free agency still. You take that chance every day of the week. And I know there's question marks about his stuff outside of the Cy Young years, but he just did win a Cy Young. And again, he doesn't have to do that here because who we have at the top of the rotation. That's a big key. He is better than Schmidt. He's better than Cortez, and I love those guys. He's probably better than Stroman, too. And I like the Stroman signing because he's looked really good. Yeah. Blake Snell makes us better. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with the players that we have already. Blake Snell puts us over the top as a championship contender, and that's why I keep pushing for it, because he's falling into your lap. There is no other team that's looking for him right now. Yeah, if he stays healthy, but that's the case for every player you sign. Every single free agent is an if.
Snell's never had injury issues.
He's had a few. He has, but it's not like, again, I don't see why people are like shooting this down. Like, you have a chance to add Blake Snell to an already good rotation to make it even better. I get it. There's some concerns, but you cannot sit here and tell me he does not make your team better if you add him right now.
Yeah, I don't agree that it's all about the IFA money. It may be a small factor, but they wouldn't be in on Snell at all if it was about the IFA money. But they have been, man. They're the only team, as we know, that has an offer on the table for him, or had, for one. And two, we found out last week that they were actually still discussing Blake Snell, but they just can't seem to make the numbers work, which says to me that it's really more about the 110% on the dollar rather than the IFA money. They're you're looking at it going, all right, five and a third inning pitcher, 6 inning pitcher for $63 million for a year. Is it worth it? The only way it's worth it is if you win a championship, but he certainly helps you get there. But the other side of the coin is he is on your lap, and you also don't need to give up any prospects to get him. And it allows our guys like Warren and Chase Hampton to continue to grow for 12 months, and they could be ready to rock and roll for next year. It kind of makes sense. It really does. But again, there's also another way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is the Yankees are probably, thinking, fuck Boris. Excuse me, fuck Boris. I was like, because the Yankees were very, very flexible in negotiations. They were like, we were happy to go 25 AAV up to 28 AAV for 6 years. And the Yankees were expecting some kind of negotiation, but Boris completely fucked Blake Snell and said, no deal, walk away. So what are the Yankees supposed to do? So I think the Yankees are probably thinking, going, you know what? I mean, we've done everything. We've done everything that we possibly could to make this work. If he wants to be stubborn, how much does he possibly want to be a Yankee if he's turning down these kind of numbers? And you have to bear that in mind as well. Let's have a look and see what Jason's got to say. I think it's important to point out that it's not only cost double at this payroll level, it cost them 2 picks, and they're tied to top 1 and 2 guys in international free agents in 25-26. Snell hasn't shown consistency. That makes a lot of sense too.
And that's a very fair look, and that's a very credible argument against getting Snell, right? Because we've gone through, both sides of it. We tried, we looked through both lenses on it. My point to it was it's only money, and they already said they're not done. Pencils aren't down. Those were the boss's words, right? It's also this team is deep enough in our system where I really don't believe one draft will hurt.
Yes,
right. And I'm not to say that the draft doesn't matter in baseball, because I think that's a misunderstood concept. And I was like that when we all first met. I'm like, nobody cares about, because nobody cares about the MLB draft until they're ready to play. So, but as we've grown, or I've grown with the channels, the MLB draft may not be popular, but it doesn't mean it's not important. But one draft is not going to hurt. Right? There was this argument that was made about on one of the short clips on the Fan, right? And they were arguing, it was an argument for the New York Giants. And they were like, does anybody care? When you look at the championships from Manning, does anybody care about the draft picks from the next year that they had to move on from them to get them? If we're able to win a World Series this year, does anybody care about next year's draft that we missed out on signing our 54th and 55th shortstop? For the system, because that's all I see in the draft.
Shortstops and pitchers. No, you're absolutely right, though. And I'll say this as a Giants fan: the 05 draft class was it was like 4 picks, but it was fantastic. But other than that, look, we've been drafting so well, and a lot of our guys that we're looking at were like 7th, 8th round picks. Look at the last 3 draft classes and look at the bottom rounds. Bryce Warwicker was like the 3rd to last pick in the draft, and we're talking about him after 1 at bat in spring. Like, oh, this guy's pretty special. That's how the Yankees have been drafting lately. They're much better in the later rounds, and some of their top picks have hit. Like Spencer Jones was a top pick, and he looks great. Lombard was a top pick. He looks really good. That's
we were able to flip him for
we flipped him for a good prospect and a relief pitcher. So like this is how the Yankees have been drafting. That I trust the way they've been drafting, and that for 1 year to have 2 less picks, I can deal with it. I can deal with that. And Blake Snell he's a better pitcher than what you're going to be drafting right now anyway. Even because, and again, a lot of people are like, why would he take a third offer? Why would the Yankees offer him a third if he said no? Because he might not have a choice at this point. Think about it that way. He may not have a choice. Because look at what Bellinger had to settle for. Look at what Chapman turned down 5 years, $100 million. He had to settle for like 354. Like Snell might not have a choice right now, but to take a lot less money than he initially wanted just to get onto a team as soon as possible. And that's why the Yankees are not negotiating against themselves. They have the balls in Snell and Boris's court, but the Yankees hold all the leverage here. If they come back to the Yankees hold the leverage. Not saying they're going to get him to sign for like $20 million, but it'll be less than what they initially offered probably and what they initially wanted on the other side. So that's why I keep pushing for it. I don't think Monty wants to come back. And if he does, great. That's perfectly fine. If we got Monty, I'm not going to say that's a terrible decision. I would take Monty here because I want another pitcher. I like our rotation, but there's so much that could happen between now and the start of the season that having that extra sure thing, that extra proven MLB arm in your possession is something that I need. Because what happens if Nestor has a little bump in the road? What happens if Schmidt gets lit up and has to take, and maybe has to work on a few things? What happens if someone gets hurt? I don't really like Luke Weaver as a number 6. I'm okay with it as a depth piece, but I don't trust Morris, and I don't know about. I think our depth is okay, but if you added Snell or Monty right now, and all of a sudden Schmidt becomes your 6th starter, that looks a lot better than what we have right now, and that's all I want. I want this team to be as good as possible to go win a championship. It has nothing to do with the kids. It has nothing to do with the international market or the draft picks that we could have. I want a championship more than anything. And and I'm a prospect dude. I consider myself a prospect guy. I talk to Dane all the time about prospects. Him and I are constantly having conversations, but I want a championship more than anything in the world right now. There's one thing in this world that I want more than anything else is the Yankees to win a goddamn World Series because it's been too long. And Blake Snell helps you do that.
They'd have a better chance of doing it with Snell. I think on Wednesday's show, I think we should definitely break down the pitching situation. I do think that we're another arm away. I've not been that blown away by Nestor Cortez. I'll get into that more, I think, on Wednesday. He left a cutter up and it was crushed, but he got out of it. He was okay after that, but I've not been that blown away by him. I've actually been more impressed by other guys like Cody Poteet, for instance. I think has pitched really, really well. But yeah, the whole Snell Montgomery thing, I've been beating the Snell drum for a long time, but I've been very put off by the way that he and his agent have negotiated this. The 9 years is embarrassing, and the fact that they didn't even come back to the table after the Yankees offered up to 28 mil AAV, which is above market value for him, and they didn't even negotiate. That's on you, So I'm kind of done. I'm almost done anyway, but I'll keep an eye out. But he's done it to himself, and he's got only himself to blame, because if he really wanted to go to the Yankees, which he was sitting there waiting for him, he should have gone to his agent and gone, make a deal here. But he didn't do it. And that's on him. And that's where I'm standing with it. Monty, Jason's got a point here. Like, is Monty going to be that much worse than a Blake Snell? No. He'll come in cheaper. I don't think there'll be that much difference at all. And Monty won a championship last year. It's crazy that the two of the best arms in the game are unemployed. But that, again, is thanks to Boris. So it's frustrating that Boris has been a conversation on Yankee Channel for this long now. He must be delighted. His ego must be fucking delighted. But at the end of the day, they always say that I think, honestly, I think he's priced his agents out as a total disgrace. But
well, you've seen it, because look at, again, the contracts that Bellinger and Chapman had to settle for. And I just want to address Mazza real quick, because we don't know what's true and what's not. This reporting has been historically bad, because even Brian Cashman said the numbers that were thrown out there as our offer are not true. So the GM of the Yankees actually had to address those rumors. So we don't know what the offer was. We don't know if they were willing to go to 27 and they said no. We don't know anything because Heyman's been wrong. Heyman's just been throwing out the same article all offseason, just in different words. 3 months now of the exact same article, just put a little bit differently. So we don't know. We don't know what the offer was. We don't know if they said, can you do this? Because even the GM had to shut those rumors down a little bit. So I don't know what the case is. Look, if we get him, I'm going to be thrilled. If we don't, like NFE said earlier, I won't lose sleep about it. But the fact remains this, they do have to add another starter. I do believe they have to add another starting
That's
pitcher.
where I'm at.
But a lot of people are saying they don't want to trade the prospects, though, for Cease. So what do you do then? It's either do you go pay up for Monty? He seems to be waiting on Texas, who doesn't want him, or maybe it's Boston, who are they going to spend now? And then it's Snell, or you settle for a Clevenger or a Lorenzen, who doesn't really add that much. Lorenzen's, he'd just be a sixth starter, really, a fifth starter. Yeah. Blake Snell's a number 2 in this rotation. Lorenzen and Clevenger are number 5. So it comes down to that.
In truth, we only really need a 4th starter / 5th starter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're good with the front 3. So if we went to Monty and got a short-term deal on the cheap for him, I would go and do it, man. I would.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be that much.
We'll have to do a deeper dive. But I actually think with this whole situation with Boris, I think this is the end of him. I think he's severely. I mean, when you get players, if this continues to go deeper and deeper, Boris might actually not go. He might actually put himself out of business because which play? Obviously not literally, but he's gonna. I think he's gonna have a hard time finding clients. There was a comment earlier. I got to look into see how and see if he actually said it. That Monty he wasn't sure if he was even going to go back to Boris after this contract. He wanted to move and he wanted to find a new agent. Because Boris doesn't get it. Like I said, Boris forgets one aspect of this whole thing. If his players aren't signed, he can't get fucking paid. So why are you not getting your players played? It doesn't. Is he that rich where he doesn't need that commission?
Yes.
and he's about to be even richer.
That leads to what I'm saying. He got too big for his own game. Where now he's got no way to play with anymore.
Well, he's got Soto next year. He knows Soto's about to make $600 million at least, maybe. So he's going to get paid just fine when Juan Soto signs next year, whether it's with us or another team. He's going to get paid. Yeah, he'll be swimming in money when Juan Soto signs. I don't think he's too worried about it. That's why he doesn't seem to be in a rush to get these guys signed. He's like, I got Juan Soto in my back pocket next year. I already got money.
And it's also not like the old days where players weren't making the money they are now. I'm already sitting on $100 million in my bank. I'm not in a rush for another 30. What does it matter? I just switch my investments around. I'll make it back.
What a good problem to have.
So, do we have today's
lineup? The players aren't hurting in the pocket either.
Today's lineup is out.
Yes,
pretty sure. I don't think any I know Soto's not in it. But I'll try to pull that up. Yeah, I if Twitter would actually work, goddamn Elon Musk ruined this thing.
Yeah,
but
let's end on a positive then.
Let's talk about this lineup. Here we go.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got it right here. Right. So we got Volpe leading off, playing short. Trent Grisham's the DH. Gleyber Torres is batting third, playing second. Austin Wells is batting cleanup. He's catching. Cabrera's in right. Pereira's in left. Jose Rojas is at first. Josh Van Meter is at third. He's wearing number 19. Did not even know that. Spencer Jones will be batting ninth.
Yes.
And playing center field. And Clark Schmidt's getting the start. I really want to see Clark Schmidt because he's the guy I trust the least because he doesn't get lefties out. And I don't really know what we're going to expect out of him this year. But I want to see if Clark Schmidt can get left-handers out this year, and he'll be a lot better.
Yeah, and he's also
why is Grisham a Gold Glove center fielder in DH, and why is Spencer Jones batting ninth?
I want to see them put Jones at first a couple of times this spring just to see how he plays. Because we know he's good in center field. I want to see him at first.
But
I was
I'm
saying,
gonna
just for
watch
the hell of
this
it,
fight to see
'cause,
Spencer Jones.
but he's also, the opposing pitcher with Miami is AJ Puck. So that'll be interesting.
Hope he gets lit up. Light him up. Put a 10 spot in the first inning.
But yeah, we'll continue the pitching discussions and all of that when we are back on Wednesday. We want to thank everybody again for all the well wishes while I was sick, and also continue your prayers and your thoughts for Spencer. Like I said, I've been in touch with him. His spirits are high. He's trying to wrap his head around everything that's happening, but he's trying to be as positive as you can be in the situation. So again, Spencer, get well, and
I
we will
love
be
that
in
he still
touch.
checks in on this channel even when he's not well. That says a lot about this guy.
The nurse was messaging for him.
That's what I'm saying. It says a lot about him that he's still.
So smack the like for Spencer.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He gets a lot. He's getting a lot of love from us at Yankee Twitter, and much deserved because he's been so loyal to this channel for so long, and it's really cool that he still checks in on us even when he's in a terrible way. But we're rooting for him to fully recover, and and thanks to his family for keeping us up informed as to how he's doing, and I feel that he's going to make a full recovery. I have a good feeling about that.
Yep. Yeah, so do I. And so if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This has been another phenomenal episode and discussion with you guys. Cannot wait until Wednesday to continue this. And as I always say, where you pinch out your pride and play hard.